sponsors, media patrons, delegates, faculty members, dear students and all present. On behalf of Ghaziabad Management Association, I welcome you all to its 35th National Annual Convention on Embracing the Future, India Together. We are privileged to be joined by a galaxy of luminaries from industry and academia. Please put your hands together for our chief guest, Mr. Ravi Venkateshan, Chairman of Global Energy Alliance and former Chairman of Microsoft India, Cummins India, Bank of Baroda and co-chairman Infosys Limited. Our guest of honor, Mr. Richard Ricky, Vice Chair, Grant Thornton India, accompanied by Mr. S.K. Tiwari, President GMA and General Manager, Godfrey Phillips India Limited, Dr. T.R. Pandey, Senior Vice President GMA and Director AKGIM Ghaziabad, Mr. Rahul Agrawal, Executive Director, Ghaziabad Management Association. Please put your hands for the leading leaders. Before formally starting the program, I request you all to kindly rise in honor of the national anthem. Request you all to kindly be seated. Continue to illuminate our path today and always. Dignitaries, issues. In a world that is changing at a lightning speed, technologically, socially, economically, adapting, it is rather shaping the change. The future is knocking, and our collective strength, commitment, united are the keys for unlocking the shared dream of Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat. The theme of today's conference is not just timely, it is rather transformative. It reflects the spirit of a nation that believes in growing forward together. On this note, once again our cordial greetings to all our dignitaries. Please put your hands together for our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Ravi Venkateshan, Chairman of Global Energy Alliance and former Chairman of Microsoft India, Cummins India, Bank of Baroda and co-chairman Infosys Limited. Can we have a round of applause for sir? We request Mr. S.K. Tiwari to welcome sir by presenting him with a token of greeting. Glad to have you with us, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We are honored to be joined by our guest of honor, Mr. Richard Recchi, Vice Chair, Grant Thornton, India. We request Dr. T.R. Pandey to present a green welcome to him. Please, sir. Can we have a round of applause for our distinguished guest? Welcome, sir. We have with us today Mr. S.K. Tiwari, President GMA and GM Godfrey Phillips India Limited. We request Mr. Dharmendra Singh to kindly present a sapling to sir. Sir, please put your hands together for Dr. T.R. Pandey, Senior Vice President GMA. We request Mr. Shailendra Singh to welcome him with a token of greeting. We request Mr. Pankaj Jain to kindly present a token of greeting to Dr. T.R. Pandey. Please, sir. Thank you once again, dignitaries, for your esteemed presence. At this juncture, we also put on record our sincere gratitude to our organizing partners, Ajay Kumar Garg Institute of Management. Well, the applause should be stopping. All these people are the patrons. Without their support, this conference would have been possible. Institute of Management Studies, Institute of Management Technologies, Shriram Pistons and Rings Limited, APK Identification, Continental Carbon India Limited, Dabur India Limited, Diagnostic Automation and Controls, Ghaziabad Precision Products Limited, Kite Group of Institutions, Micromatic, Canting Technologies and Rajkumar Goyal Institute of Technology for their support in organizing this convention. May we have a thunderous round of applause for all of them. Friends, it has been rightly said, leaders always choose the harder right rather than the easier wrong. One such personality is Mr. S.K. Tiwari. It is our honor to introduce him. Mr. S.K. Tiwari is a proven technocrat and a senior management professional with over 27 years of diverse experience in the field of operations excellence, technology and engineering, business strategic projects, supply chain management, green and brownfield projects and manufacturing setups along with team building and leadership. An alumnus from IIT Delhi, he started his career with steel manufacturing and subsequently worked in healthcare sector, printing and press, and at present he is associated with the well-known FMCG. He is a certified Six Sigma Green Belt, and with his innovative thinking he has introduced many initiatives on manufacturing 4.0 and machine learning. He strongly believes in a positive attitude, teamwork, consistent efforts and a never give up approach, and has played a critical role in nurturing and mentoring future talent. Can we have a huge round of applause for sir? Now Mr. S.K. Tiwari to kindly present the welcome address and brief on the day. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. On behalf of Ghaziabad Management Association, I welcome you all for gracing today's event. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to stand before you on the occasion of 35th Annual Convention of GMA. Since its inception in 1982, GMA has been striving to enable Ghaziabad as an organization and transform society by contributing in terms of excellence in management and technology and to become globally competitive. Affiliated with All India Management Association, GMA in all its dimensions has done several works and has truly been a proactive and progressive management to begin with, on behalf of the association, I extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Ravi Venkatesan sir, Chairman of Global Energy Alliance and former Chairman of Microsoft India, Cummins India, Bank of Baroda, and co-chairman of Infosys Limited. It would not be wrong to address him as a management member. Sir, we thank you for sparing a valuable time for us. Thank you, sir. I also extend a sincere welcome to guest of honor, Mr. Richard Reddy, sir, Vice Chair of Grant Thornton India. Sir, we are grateful for you and your presence makes a great difference for us. In today's convention, we will have two technical sessions followed by one valedictory session. The first session will be on the role of manufacturing and service sector, and followed by the second section will have on academia. Valedictory section will be on the health and happiness for a better tomorrow, and this we have kept purposely because to make and aware about the importance of health and happiness, how it is important for India as well. I convey my sincere gratitude to all the session chair and speakers of the technical and valedictory session. With this, I pay my profound regards to all the founder members, governing council members, executive committee, and office bearers of the GMA. Without their hard work, it would not be possible to make any convention in such a great success. Over the years, this platform has become a beacon of knowledge, where we are transferring knowledge and collaboration with the progressive thoughts. And today, we reflect on our convention theme, facing the future India together. This becomes altogether very important, and we embrace the immense responsibility of shaping a stronger, more resilient India. The world around us is changing at an extraordinary pace, we all know. Technology is transforming, education is being redefined, and well-being is now as important as economic success. To move forward, we must address three crucial pillars, that is manufacturing, academics, and health and happiness. And this is what we have kept in our technical session and valedictory session. We all know manufacturing is the backbone of any strong economy, and especially for India, it is a pathway to become a global powerhouse. The Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, we all know, but these movements are not just a slogan. In fact, they are our roadmap for self-reliance. India manufacturing sector is actually contributing a lot, and if you see 17% to the GDP, and with a target of 25% by 2025. India is the fifth largest economy in the world, we all know, with a GDP of $3.7 trillion, and we expect by 2027, $5 trillion. That's a great. To stay ahead, we must embrace digital transformation. We all know how much work is actually happening in the digital transformation area. Invest in skill development and integrated sustainable practices. And this has become very important for any of the industry. Our factories must be smart, efficient, and globally competitive. If we harness technology wisely, we will not just be manufacturing good, we will be manufacturing prosperous future. As you know, education is also evolving a lot. New technologies, new methodologies, and ever-changing job landscape has made continuous learning essential for everyone. But while disruption brings innovation, we must not lose the sight of basic foundation knowledge, ethics, and values. In fact, our National Education Policy 2020 also aims on the skill-based education, research, and innovation. A robust education system must balance cutting edge and the wisdom of the past. In fact, our children must be taught not just to how to adapt, but how to think and innovate. That is more important, and how to lead the future. If we get this right, we would not have educating students, we will be creating visionaries. A prosperous nation, what actually wants? A prosperous nation is not just measured by its GDP, but by the health and happiness of the people and the society. Healthy workforce is a productive workforce, and a happy society is an innovative society. We all know Indian life expectancy has increased now to 70 years. reflecting improved healthcare access to everyone. In fact, workplace well-being is gaining importance in every corporates and institutions, with the major companies adopting mental health program and flexible work environment. We all know Indian fitness industry has grown 50% annually, with increasing awareness of yoga, meditation, and holistic well-being. A nation that values people well-being will always stand stronger, happier, and more united. And that's what we look for India. As we move forward, we must remember no single entity can shape the future alone. We all have to stand, we all have to work together. Government, industries, academia, and citizens of each of us. Our diversity, we all know India is known for diversity. Our diversity is our strength, and our unity will be our power. The future is not something we enter, it's something we create. And by working together, we'll create a future where India leads, prospers, and inspires the world. Further, before I end, I convey my gratitude to all the corporates, institutions, and individual members for their noteworthy contribution to this convention. I am sure with the galaxy of experts present here, this convention is going to be fruitful for everyone. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, thank you.
We are confident that under your inspiring leadership, today's convention will provide a bountiful platform for discussion and exchange of ideas. And once again, congratulations to GMA for surpassing its own benchmarks year after year. That indeed calls for a huge round of applause for Inaugural Management Association. Taking the session forward, it has been rightly said that leadership is not wielding authority, it is rather empowering people. An embodiment of these words is our distinguished guest of honor, Mr. Richard Recchi. May we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Rahul to kindly introduce him.
India's future is not written by one, but by 1.4 million hands. Good morning to all. Good morning, esteemed guests sitting on dais, respected GC and EC members, colleagues and friends. It's both an honor and a privilege to introduce today convention's guest of honor and a keynote speaker, Mr. Richard Recchi. Richard is presently the Vice Chair of Grant Thornton India. He is a qualified chartered accountant and has over 40 years plus experience in consulting and professional services and has worked in Arthur Andersen, Ernst Young and KPMG, where he has spearheaded the firm in various capacities. He was the Chief Executive Officer of KPMG in India from 2012 to 2017, where he was a member of the Global Board and the Council of KPMG International and board member of KPMG Dubai till December 2022. Richard is a non-executive director of IOTA Analytics UK and independent director TSB Alliance. He is also a member of Board of Governors, Asian School of Business Management and IIM Sambalpur. He is a council member of IMA as well as a member of IMA's Board of Cities and Audit and Finance Committee. With more than 40 years of experience in professional services, he is admired for his clinical approach towards corporate governance and enterprise risk management. Richard is a speaker at international and domestic forum. Richard has traveled extensively around the globe and is respected voice on a range of social and economical issues. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Mr. Richard Recchi, a visionary leader whose insights and experiences will undoubtedly inspire us as we journey towards together a brighter future.
little bit embarrassing introduction, but good morning to all the esteemed guests, panel, esteemed guests on the stage, to all the dignitaries sitting here, and of course everybody else, a very, very good morning. Ravi and I, when we walked into this room, we said, wow, because it looked so good, it looked so bright, and I think first time actually I'm coming physically for a GME event. I've never come for a GME event, though I've been involved in IMA for many years, but never came here. So thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to speak. They say that India is sitting, or we are sitting in the time in history when India, which was a hype till now, not till now, till a few years back, is now becoming a reality. The next decade, or maybe next decades, belong to us. It's ours to lose. It's up to all of us to make this dream or this aspiration a reality. We all have to work. Let's not point fingers at different people. So I'm going to talk on the economy, whatever little bit I understand. We got Ravi, who's the expert, so I'll be a little careful what I say. So when I came to know that Ravi is coming here, I said, no, first I was just going to come and speak. I said, no, thoda slides to laga do. I'm not sure whether Ravi would put slides up, because he's always, let me tell you, you're lucky to have a person of his caliber come and speak. If you've not seen that one video of his when you become 40, what you do post 40, it's gone viral everywhere. If you've not seen it, please hear it. You will realize the realities of life. And it's all for those guys who are 40 and should not miss the remaining part of their life. Where is the slide? Sorry. Okay, so I want to, everybody says emerging, we are an emerging economy. According to me, we are a re-emerging economy. If you go back into the history of India, India has been an economic powerhouse. I'm going many years back now. India and China used to dominate the global economy. India used to have 27% in the 1700s share of the global economy. Then came the British, and when they left, we had 3%. So you can see the decay that happened. So India can get back, may not be able to get back to its glorious past, but can reach somewhere there. And they left the country broken in many ways. The education system, the healthcare system, the wealth of the country had moved out. And post-independence India, when India was the first leaders who came and put India together, they got a very different economy to what we have today. All those people born post-1990 do not know what a struggle is. Never seen a struggle in their lives. But people who are born before 1990 know what it was to get a telephone, to get a car, to buy a house or anything else. It was a struggle. It required a lot of hard work. I can tell you, when I became a partner in Arthur Andersen, I became partner in 96 or 97 in Andersen, 97 sorry, and the firm was formed in 1984 and I was partner number 9. So you know how difficult it was to become, to get there. But now all the big 4 firms have between 800 to 900 partners. So it has become a very, very different game and a different ball game. So 1991 was the year in which I would say India opened up to the world. 1991. And I do not know how many of you remember that small press conference, very small press conference that Narasimha, I don't think it was a press conference, it was a bite he gave. He said, we are removing the licenses. It was the biggest ever change that's ever happened in India, and there is no change which has happened of that level again. We need to get back to those kind of changes if we want to make it. That one statement, I'm removing license Raj, was People didn't realize actually when he said it, very, Narasimha Rao speaks, right? I mean, he just said, and people didn't realize at that time. So, this was rebuilding the India post-independence, the 5-year planning, agrarian reforms. It was just building the basics. The Indian Institute of Science, our space mission was formed at that time. Country was poor, country was struggling, but yet leaders were visionary to see forward. And today, if we have all these IIMs, IITs, we have to thank those people for laying the foundation stone, so that the future global CEOs were born. Ravi himself is a 32-year-old CEO in a multinational company in India. Imagine 32 and just being a CEO of a large multinational company. You just imagine what goes through an individual's mind at that point of time. And of course, we also, in the 80s, we got computerization, which itself was a big changer, and the seeds of the telecom revolution were born. I remember I was sitting in a conference like you all are sitting today. Sam Petroda was talking. He said India is going to go through a telecom boom. Nobody believed what he was saying. But he said, what you all expect Rajiv Gandhi to climb up on the telephone pole and put the wires together. So, the telecom revolution, I do not know how many of you know, this was one industry which grew on its own with zero government interference. Zero government interference. When they removed that licensing scheme, the industry just boomed. Not only the telecom companies like IBM, all the ancillary companies made so much of money, they were so prosperous. I think, and we had a telecom system far ahead of many of the developed countries. Late mover advantage worked in telecom. It is not working in infrastructure. It's not working in infrastructure. If we still have boom barriers, we are late in the game. Why could we not have, you go to Dubai, you don't even know you're paying a toll. You drive through the roads, the toll is getting charged to your wallet. Your wallet means the electronic wallet. So I think there was a great learning we could have got. 1991, nobody will even know India was on the brink of disaster. We had 15 days of foreign exchange left to pay for our import bills. And then came Dr. Singh, Manmohan Singh, who made such radical changes to the Indian economy, brought in fiscal prudence and everything that went with it, and India survived. Not only survived, but in the late 90s we thrived. We had so many global companies coming to India, everybody thought India is a place to be, and that's where we will do business. So 1991 was the bold agenda. 1991 was the bold reform agenda that Dr. Singh put in. Fiscal consolidation. And many people don't realize that India's GDP growth in that time came, one of the reasons, not the only reason, one of the reasons was a huge amount of women came into the workforce, first time at scale. And that contributed to the GDP of the country. And unfortunately, we are struggling now to get the women back into the workforce because there's a diminishing or there's a falling of women into the workforce. And we heard the finance minister also saying we want to get more women back into the workforce. So post-COVID, this is what happened actually. But what India needs to go through is, the economy needs, in my view, a 1991 type of reform. Not exactly what happened then, but a reform of that scale. Very different, very tough, not easy kind of reforms. First, we need to modernize our taxation system. Our GST system doesn't belong to this, to the current world. It is flawed. It's a consumption-based tax. It doesn't work. You talk to any economist, they will tell you consumption-based tax doesn't work. You see the cost of goods become so expensive in each of our hands. So if you say I pay 30% tax, or if somebody says I'm paying 45% tax, depends which slab you are actually can add another 10 to 15% for the GST that you pay on the different goods and services you consume. So India's taxation system is very high. The GST rates are very, very high compared to anywhere in the globe. And there are too many slabs. GST came in, one nation, one tax. There is one nation, many taxes and many slabs, and I think it is not getting changed. And I've spoken to the experts sitting there in the government side. I've had arguments. Actually, when they asked me personally, before GST was launched, what would you say? I said, come with a 6% rate. The guy thought I was smoking something. So he said 6% to Hogani. But I said, you start in a smaller rate and then you can go up if tomorrow the economy can bear it. And I think that's the way Singapore did it. When they brought in their VAT, they brought at a 1% or 2% and then slowly increased it. The economy has to absorb it, and that's what we need to look at. We need consistency, transparency and predictability in our policies. Policies keep changing. You look at GST when it came in, within 6 months there was over 100 changes, notifications, because it was not well thought through, come with. Today, nobody is an expert on GST. If somebody can come and say that they can tell what is the product should get GST, there is nobody, there's no consultant, not even the government. So I think we need that. Ease of doing business. I'm guilty to it because I was involved in the first thing that the government was doing business. We as KPMG were involved in it. And what the business people are saying, yeah, theek hai, paper way, it's all okay. But what about the real ease of doing business? When you set up a factory, look at the problems and challenges we have. Can you get that corrected? We need to get to the ground level changes where it becomes easy for somebody to set up. We heard Mr. Tiwari talk about manufacturing. I completely agree with him. We need to bring some serious changes in the regulations if we want to take the place or occupy a space where we can become one of the alternates to manufacturing in the world as China's actually growing. People think China decay or China ka growth aur bhi zyada ho gaya. So they have made changes, they have brought out, they are the manufacturing hub to the world. India can be an alternate to it, why not? In fact, I would also make a bold step. Why don't we do a joint venture, like a collaboration with China, and we supply some of the manufacturing to China. It's too expensive for the manufacture at the lower end. We can manufacture in India. The unskilled workers will get jobs. Economy will get money into it, and they will start spending money. The whole economy will boom and will start coming up. So India's unorganized sector, which got the backbone during the demonetization, which was broken at its thing, has not recovered. If anybody studies the economy, you will realize that 2% of GDP comes from unorganized sector. 2% of the GDP. We lost it. Months, I don't know what it is, but it's not even being counted. Nobody even counts it. So we need to get that unorganized sector back on the table, and they need SME, MSME also needs a lot of support and a lot of help. But if you think somebody is coming to help you, no. We have to help ourselves, but we need to find the white spaces, we need to find our own space, and we can all grow, but we'll have to do it on our own. And also we need to boost our per capita income. So while GDP looks good, announcements come, we are the 4th largest economy in the world, which we are by the GDP number. But if you look at the number, we are the largest populated country in the world. So per capita is not good. And that's what is stalling consumption. For the first time since I've been following the India growth story, I've seen a falling consumption. Never ever. India was a consumption-based story. It grew on consumption, and I think that's something that is. So, opportunities on the horizon, tech and AI. I mean, we have the biggest potential of becoming the cradle of AI services to the world. We have not developed AI products, very unfortunate. We missed it. We almost had ChatGPT in our pocket. We didn't take it. And fintech, I mean, we want the maximum number of digital transactions. I don't know how many of you have UPI, which you all use, so you know about it, Aadhaar card. We all have Aadhaar card. There is a BharatNet, and there is an ONDC, which is on the online for small retailers to come, because earlier Amazon was making all the money, so now this ONDC is allowing small retailers to come and make their own money. So these are some very good things that have been built on the India stack, the technology. Something makes me wonder why we did not take the India stock and have our own operating system. We could have had our own operating system. Why? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I think we are getting a very deeply capital market. Our capital market is very respected now in the world, and manufacturing hubs, so we need to see how we become part of the global supply chain. We've got opportunities to become that. Green energy, we have actually gone quite far as solar is concerned and wind is concerned. Electric vehicles also quite a lot in India. So I think that transition, energy transition, which I'm talking about is, thank you so much, the energy transition, and then we've got the demographic dividend. We keep hearing demographic dividend. Have you heard the word demographic liability? If these people are not skilled, it is going to become a big problem for this country. People need to be skilled. It's not about the school and colleges and people who are in the recruitment space will know. You don't go and hire a person because he studied something. You hire him for his skills or her skills. Usme wo skill hai ki nahi. But on the positive side, we are getting there. Like I've given you already, I'm not going to go through. You can just read this. I've spoken about most of these points. We are the GCC capital of the world, global captive centers, global capability centers, whatever you want to call them. We have about 50% of the GCCs in India and growing. So basically, we are the talent hub of the world. Now the problem is, in most of these FTAs, this never gets spoken about. The ease of visa, movement of people to different countries. So we just signed a FTA with UK. We're almost signing one with US. But the services, people never get taken care of. So we have a young population and we have to see that they are skilled. So these are the growth pillars. These are the growth pillars. So thriving entrepreneurship is spurred by private capital. Private capital is falling, just for your information. Private capital is falling, you have to get it back. People will not invest if their factories are working at 60-70%, so differently, we need to transform. So these are in my views the growth pillars that India will need to work on. These are the growth pillars that India will need to work on. And of course, the last point I want to talk about India's soft power. I don't know how much of you knew now after this war which happened, the whole thing is that how many people in the world supported you or did not come forward for India. You know what you can get connected with the world is through a soft power. I'll come on that slide. Soft power is such a powerful, there's hard power, right? Economic, ye main karunga, like Trump says, main sanction karunga, ye karunga. He's going to be friendless after some time. See, a bully after some time will not have anybody because he's telling so many lies, including the lies that he did the ceasefire. I mean, there's no evidence. And he keeps insisting. He says India and Pakistan are fighting for 1,000 years. They're not independent 1,000 years. Yeah, where was Pakistan here 1,000 years back? But he keeps insisting. Every time he keeps talking about it. So this is how a bully behaves, and we have to live with him. So India has so many internet, consumers. We have got telephones, smartphones. You know, when the smartphone first came into India, it created so much economic activity. The phone has created so much economic activity. And just imagine every Indian having a smartphone in their hand. This country will boom. This country will boom. And I think that's something we need to look at. The digital stack I've already spoken. We have got 40% of our payments are done in digital format. People are shocked when they come to India. The laundry guy or the vegetable vendor has got a UPI code and it works. We have 131 billion digital transactions. Nobody in the world has anything here, not even China. So we are at least BharatNet. I do not know how many of you know that the fiber has been laid across the country. Across the country it has been laid. And we are building data centers, 5G rollout. So I don't want to get into this, but I know I'm already before. So I'll just quickly go into. So I just want to talk on this one social sector. I'll go into the social sector reforms. So here's an idea which I'm trying to put forward. If on the large digital transactions we charge 0.0001% transaction fee, the money that you will collect will be enough to fund a lot of the projects that you want. With that, you'll be able to reduce the oil prices, the fuel prices which are there. That money will get you into healthcare, education. The government will have enough money to actually do a lot of these activities. And we need many more changes on how we use our. India does not have a infrastructure development bank. So even China at this stage has an infrastructure development bank. So all the infrastructure companies build great infrastructure, but they're all sick because of the funding mechanism we have. Because you borrow for a long-term project, you have to pay back on a short term. So your interest starts coming from day one. But if you look at these long infra projects, only after 12 years they start giving you return. So if the whole thing, if we had an infrastructure development fund, we could have done it actually, but we don't have it. So I will get to the other slide, which this is our soft park. I mean, if you see cinema, festivals, today Diwali, Holi are celebrated across the world. As if it is their festival in all the embassies in the US, UK, everywhere it is celebrated. Our classical dance, Indian Classical Museum is on the top of charts. Our cricket has now reached up to the Olympics. And I've just put these three pictures because according to me, they actually are the ones. In fact, Virat Kohli's pictures, they are on the Olympic ads. Tendulkar, Dhoni. Then our arts and, somebody asked me. So I was saying that if private equity came and valued our art, just for the artisans, what they do, it will be trillions of dollars. They are a neglected person, and if we could get that working, you can just see what, we are the chess champions of the world today. And all these are young people doing. If you see all the chess champions, they come out of Tamil Nadu, they are 18, 19, 20, and they are beating everybody. And the Indian cuisine is known in the world. But I just want to end with one last slide, which is our challenges. All this will falter. The derailers are execution. If we don't execute, there's no point of giving headlines. We have to execute the projects. Corruption still continues. We have education which is not working. We need to have education which is fit for purpose. And our infrastructure, I just saw yesterday, some Kerala road has collapsed, highway has collapsed. I mean, every day some bridge, some highway, some airport. I mean, I think we need to get something going out there. Inflation and rising food prices. So I've listed all those, I don't want to go into it, you can read it. But I think with this, I would just, this last slide, which is the perfect blend India is sitting on. India's economic strength, cultural diversity, technological advancements, and global influence come together harmoniously just to make the perfect blend of spices and a well-crafted Indian cuisine, which is good. So this all moves. This is what makes India unique, and thank you very much.
For the wonderful talk, very rightly pointed out, sir, India is not an emerging economy. It is rather a re-emerging economy, as we've always been. Thank you for charting the growth trajectory of India, the various opportunities that need to be leveraged alongside the challenges, social sector reform, soft power, and many more critical aspects in such a crisp manner. We are indebted to you, sir. Thank you so much. We look forward to welcoming you in all our future endeavors. Friends, you all will agree that a visionary leader doesn't look at what is, rather he looks at what could be. And these lines aptly epitomize our eminent chief guest, Mr. Ravi Venkateshan. Can we have a huge round of applause for sir? Ravi need an introduction, but I still request Mr. Rahul Agrawal to kindly introduce him. Over to you, please.
see, whenever I talk to Ravi, he always says my profile should be very crisp. So whatever profile I receive from him to narrate here, so I find that it is very, very crisp. So I am sorry, Ravi, I have added few lines. So our next speaker, the chief guest, Mr. Ravi Venkatesan, who epitomizes the spirit of visionary leadership and the collective progress. Ravi Venkatesan is a business leader, social entrepreneur and author. He is the chairman of Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, which is called GEAPP, leading efforts to accelerate investment in green energy transitions and renewable energy solutions. Ravi is also the founder of Global Alliance of Mass Entrepreneurship, an initiative admiring to create 10 million entrepreneurs in India and Africa by 2030. Ravi serves on the boards of Rockefeller Foundation and Hitachi Limited. Ravi has previously served as the chairman of Microsoft India 2004-2011. Under his leadership, Microsoft India became the company's second largest presence globally. He was instrumental in launching Project Shiksha, a computer literacy program that has trained over 40 million school children in India. As a chairman of Bank of Baroda, 2015 to 2018, he led the turnaround of India's second largest public sector bank, steering it through significant transformation. He was also former chairman of Cummins India and co-chairman of Infosys Limited, where he played a pivotal role in guiding one of the India's leading IT service companies through challenging transitions. Beyond the corporate realm, Ravi is deeply committed to social entrepreneurship and innovation. He was also UNICEF's special representative of young people and innovation, advocating for young youth empowerment and innovative solutions of global challenge. He has a BTech degree from IIT Bombay and an MS from Purdue University and MBA from Harvard Business School, where he was a Baker Scholar. Ravi is also the author of two best-selling books, What the Heck Do I Do with My Life? How to Flourish in Our Turbulent Times, and Conquering the Chaos, Win in India, Win Everywhere. He has been voted as one of the India's best management thinker by Thinkers 50 and by Microsoft Alumni Hero 2020. His multifaceted career reflects a deep commitment to harnessing technology, innovation, entrepreneurship to drive inclusive and sustainable growth. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ravi Venkatesan to stage, who is a visionary leader dedicated to shaping innovative and prosperous future for India.
Thank you for that. No, this is fine. I think you can hear me. Yeah. So thank you for that warm, embarrassing introduction, Ravi. And good morning, dignitaries, friends. It's a great honor to be here, a great pleasure to be here in this room. I'm grateful to the Ghaziabad Management Association for extending the invitation which allowed me to come. Rahulji, I will tell you that when he called me, I didn't hesitate. It was only about the date. I said yes, because I wanted to be here, and I'm so glad. I will start by admitting that I'm a very keen student of history. I'm very, very interested in history, particularly business history, even though it was the subject I hated most when I was in school, because it seemed to be the most pointless subject where you have to just memorize dates, events, battles, and things like that, somehow get through the exam and then quickly forget it. So I said, all the subjects, this is the least useful. But then as I grew older, I began to appreciate history. And the reason is because I saw that whatever is happening today has happened before. Only the context, the container is different. And therefore there are a lot of lessons to be learned from history. So I'm an avid reader of history books, and one of the books that made the greatest impression on me, which is basically driving a lot of the work I do, is by a Nobel Prize winning American economist called Ned Phelps. And Ned Phelps' book is called Mass Flourishing. So in this book, Phelps looks at why do some countries suddenly become rich? Why do they break away from their past and take off and leave everybody else behind? And so he looks at Britain in the 18th and 19th century. He looks at America in the 20th century, which was the American century. And then now he looks at China, which is becoming the preeminent economy in the world. And he looks at why did this happen? And he says, no, it's not because of what you think. It is rarely because of their government. We tend to think that in China things happen because of the government, in India things happen despite the government. Okay, and he says, no, 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 this is true everywhere. What happens in these countries is somewhere there is a cultural shift that begins to happen. And because of this cultural shift, people start feeling that it is okay to express themselves, no longer to have other people control their life, but rather make their own decisions, take risks, fail, and so on. And so some pioneers start inventing things, they start making things, they start small businesses. And a few of these become very, very successful. So for instance, and usually these pioneers are illiterate, from the most humble families and backgrounds. They're not IIT, IIM graduates or Harvard Business School graduates. They come from the most humble backgrounds. So he gives these examples. He says, do you know the steam engine, which changed the world, was invented by James Watt? And again, he was illiterate. The person who made the automatic spinning loom, which changed the way the world makes clothes, was again from the humble background. You take Isaac Singer, who made the Singer Sewing Machine Company, the most backward, illiterate family. Thomas Edison, who invented electricity and the whole electric power system, etc. Again, same, illiterate. So, and then the success of these people inspires many more people. Agar wo kar sakta hai, to main bhi kar sakta hu shayad. Okay? So more and more people start inventing, tinkering, starting businesses, some of which, and then the whole society becomes prosperous. And he calls this mass flourishing. So I love this theory because I said this is very hopeful. You don't have to wait for the government to do something. Somehow people can take the future into their own hands. And by the way, I lived through the whole IT revolution in Bangalore in the 90s, 2000s, etc. And Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, that's how it happened. It didn't happen because some instruction came from Delhi or from the government in Karnataka or Hyderabad or whatever. It was people like Narayan Murthy and F.C. Kohli and so many others who started inventing, tinkering, and some of them became successful and more people followed. So I said, this fits our own experience also. And it seemed to me that this is the bottom-up revolution that we need to have in our country if we really want to see our Prime Minister's vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047. The problem with our economy is, even though it's growing, as Richard said, reasonably well at 6.5%, I say reasonably, relatively, because you look around the world and it's not very good. Even though it's growing at 6.5%, it is creating extreme inequality. So whether it's businesses, the big are becoming bigger and the smaller are struggling more and more. So if you look at personal wealth, the top 1% of Indians own 40% of all wealth. If you look at the top 10% of us, which includes all of us, We own 75% of all the wealth, and 90% basically have very little. In the business side, it's the same thing. 5 companies, 5 business groups account for 25% of the entire market capitalization of Nifty 50. Okay, and that is Reliance, Tata Group, Bharti, Adani, and Birla. And meanwhile, you have 6.3 crore small and medium businesses, which are generating 30% of the GDP and 11 crore jobs. These small and medium businesses are struggling to survive. If you ask me what is the major reason that is holding our economy back, it is this, and I think you had that point, Richard, in 1 or 2 slides of yours. If you compare us with the other big 4 economies, the US, Germany, China, and Japan, if you look at their MSME sector, 50 to 60%, 55 to 60% of GDP is coming from MSMEs, and 70 to 80% of employment is coming from these, say, the smaller companies. In India, they're struggling to survive and they're struggling to grow. Now, in those countries, what you see is people grow. It is the growth of micro businesses to small, and some small to medium, and a few medium to big, that creates prosperity and jobs. And in India, that escalator is broken for a long time. So we have 95% of our small businesses are remaining small, with less than 5 people. 98% have less than 10 people. And the worst thing is you come back after a decade, and if they're still alive, they're still small. They're not grown. So, and there are many reasons for this, and people will tell you it's all the compliance burden, the difficulty of doing business, which even FM talked about in her budget speech. It is lack of access to credit, it is infrastructure issues, cost of electricity, challenge, many reasons. But all that aside, if we want a prosperous country, we have to solve this problem. We have to get lakhs and lakhs of small businesses growing faster and faster, creating more and more jobs. This is a sentence I will use over and over again, and that too not in our big cities, but also in our tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 cities, including Meerut and Kanpur and Moradabad and so on. So if you imagine India in 2047, and it's a country where there is nobody living in extreme poverty, where there are 1 billion people who are middle class, and our GDP says 15 trillion or more, then we need to have at least 200 cities where more and more businesses are growing faster and faster, creating more and more jobs, inspiring more and more new businesses. And this is the vision with which I started GAME, the Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship, in 2019. I said, I don't know how we're going to do it, but this is a problem which we have to solve, and I'm not going to wait for government and big successful businessmen to do it. We will figure it out. And with 2 friends of mine, Mekin Maheshwari and Madan Padake, we started it in 2019. In the beginning, we had no idea ki kaise karna. Okay, how do you do this? No idea. So we started doing lots of experiments to solve problems. So for instance, one of the problems in our country is young people, when they graduate from school or college, immediately start looking for a government job. And we know there aren't that many government jobs, which is why you have 10 lakh people, or even more, 50 lakh people, some with master's degrees applying for 5 jobs in some government department. So our view is, how do we get our young people to start wanting to start their own business, and only if they fail should they go look for a job? So my friend Mekin Maheshwari started working with 1,000 government schools in Delhi, and they introduced what is called the entrepreneurship mindset curriculum in standard 9 to 12. It is quite famous. Happiness curriculum, mindset curriculum is NCR mein to bahut mashhoor hai. So this was very successful. Today, this program is the largest program in the world, running in 10,000 government schools, the poorest of the poor, in 13 states. And more young people are coming out and starting businesses, such as Preeti in Pune. These are all people I've met. Preeti in Pune, she's running a business today that makes paper bags, stationery products, and so forth. Monu in Noida runs an electric rickshaw repair small shop. I know Monu because I gave him a Bosch tool set. Then there is Manikandan in Chennai who's got a small mobile accessory shop. Or Ruxana in Delhi, again we gave her a prize because she started a henna and tattoo studio. So today there are tens of thousands of these people who graduated and they didn't look for a job but started their own business like many of you. And our dream is by 2030, every young kid should be exposed to entrepreneurship and it should be their first choice. The second thing we started working on, as Richard mentioned, is ease of doing business. You know and I know that even though the World Bank may think we have improved, on the ground in any state in India, it is extremely difficult to start a small business and run a small business. As you become bigger, we know how to manage things, but it is difficult. So we started in Punjab and we spent 2 years, 2021, 2022, because then this was with the previous government. And we worked with the industry associations and small businesses and worked with government to make a dramatic improvement in making regulations, compliances simpler and decriminalizing them. I want to tell you that in 2 years, what we achieved was quite good. Number of labor registers reduced from 50 to 14, decriminalized 308 labor offenses, eliminated 26 NOCs, and so on. And more importantly, the partner we created to do this work is now working in 10 states. Another critical issue we worked on is delayed payments. Again, this is something you know very well personally. Throughout our country, large buyers do not like paying smaller buyers on time. They're supposed to pay in 45 days. Rarely do you get paid in less than 90. And there is no reason for this other than dadagiri. Okay? And the worst thing is people accept it as sahi hota hai. This has become normalized. This is bad behavior. This is the way it is. And we saw the impact on small businesses. And so along with FISBE, we took it up with Finance Ministry as well as with MSME. And we worked for a full year and a half, and which is why those amendments were made to the MSMED Act. And today that group is still working, trying to onboard large government buyers onto TRED, smaller NBFC onto TRED, so your bill discounting can happen quickly and you can get paid. Like this, we did other things. We set up with SIDBI, a small NBFC accelerators, because to increase the credit flow to small businesses. Women-owned businesses. Only 14% of all businesses in India are owned by women. It's a major missing opportunity. So we have a focus on small women-owned businesses. We have 1 lakh such small women businesses, business owners, who we've helped to sell on Amazon. Today, 1 year later, they're making 15% more money, net profits. However, what we said is this is all good here, but we're missing the most important thing. The most important thing is we don't know how to come to a city like Ghaziabad or anywhere and get the people of this place working together to tackle their own challenges. We don't have a way of mobilizing them to come together to solve the issues they face, to create a positive environment, a positive mahal. In every city I went to, we saw people operating in silos. District administration is doing its own thing, typically not listening to the business. You have many industry associations, each operating independently. You have the bankers doing their own thing, rarely leaving the branch, and so on. And that's why problems don't get solved, because we don't able to come together. And every business has to learn how to cope on its own. So we said we must find a good approach to this, and we started searching, and finally we found it, of all places, in Colombia, South America, in a small city called Manizales. In 2012, Manizales was a failing city. The businesses were closing, tax revenues were down, the infrastructure was crumbling, roads, frequent power outages, and crime and unemployment were rising. And this is when one foundation over there decided to call Professor Dan Eisenberg from Harvard Business School to come and help them. And what he was able to do is bring together all the leading people in that city people like Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Dhan, and all those influential people of Manizales were brought together along with the district administration, and they started working on their problems. In 8 years, something impressive happened. By 2020, 250 small businesses were put through an accelerator, and they were now growing. 70% of them were growing at over 30% a year. 2,100 new businesses were started. 100 college students were put through an entrepreneurship curriculum and given seed capital. And more businesses, which had been closing down, began to grow faster and faster. And a growth mindset came into Manizales. Last year, they were voted #1 in social progress in Colombia, #1 in ease of doing business, #1 in business formality, and #5 in innovation. And Dan then took this model of his, Eisenberg, to Caribbean, Canada, etc. And that's when I went and met him and said, boss, we need something like this in India. So his methodology is simple. The goal is the same. How do you get more and more businesses growing faster and faster, creating more and more jobs, inspiring more and more new entrepreneurs? So this is like a flywheel. It starts slowly and then it catches up. I'm sure if you look at 20 years of Ghaziabad, this is what is happening. But we wanted to go even faster. And so he says, for this you need 4 things. Collective action is critical. That's why I like the title of the theme, Together, India Together. Collective action is critical. You have to bring together all the key actors as a task force in that city. Now, the first job is get existing small businesses which are struggling to start growing fast within 6 months. You don't have 5 years. 6 months ke andar it has to start showing significant growth, and you should amplify, communicate this so that everybody starts getting excited and say, how can I be part of this? After that, the group is able to take on more and more difficult issues, and I'll come to that. And this is all supported by a small secretariat in any institution, including like the GMA. So we said, okay, will this work in India? So we started in Ludhiana in 21-22. So we took 100 small businesses. Typical was 5 crores, some were smaller, some were close, a little bigger. And these businesses were not growing, particularly after COVID, GST, demonetization, everybody was really struggling. And we put them in groups of 20 for 6 months through an accelerator. Across 100 businesses, the average growth was 35% in 6 months. Okay? So, suddenly, people in Ludhiana started paying attention, getting excited. Unfortunately, we could not continue because we didn't have the funds. Okay, and even though they saw the benefit, they were not willing to pay. So I said, okay, we'll do something else. But in 2023, I met Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, then Deputy CM of Maharashtra. And I said, boss, this is the dream. This is what we've been able to do in Punjab and Ludhiana and so forth. He said, I want to do this in Maharashtra. I want this to be a vibrant hub in every district of Maharashtra, starting in Nagpur, which is his own constituency. So we said, fine, 2023, late 2023, we launched the Maharashtra Entrepreneurship Mission. If you Google it, you'll see all the photographs and things. And we started in Nagpur. We've been working there for about 16 months. Etc. into a group, and it is anchored by Tai Nagpur, and GAME is the secretariat. And here's some of the things they're working on. One of our critical partners is the teaching learning community. They have a model where a successful entrepreneur will take classes and mentor smaller business owners on things like pricing, how to grow the business, HR, all those things. And 100 businesses right now are on a 10x journey. Okay, it will take time, but they're on a 10x growth journey. A second group has been formed to work on agro-processing cluster. It turns out Nagpur grows a lot of chana dal, millets, moong dal, etc. And they want to become the world's leading cluster for plant-based protein. The world is moving from animal-based protein like and chicken and so forth to plant-based, and they want to be the leader. But it's going to require a lot of investment and a lot of policy changes. So there's a task force which includes the government and all working on this. A third group is working on setting up a first dedicated women's only industrial park. I'm looking at the table with our women. So a women's only industrial park, because Hyderabad has created this extremely successfully. So it's a space exclusively delivered for women-owned enterprises, which includes banks, security, creches for the babies, and so on. And it's to provide not just infrastructure, but visible role models, mentorship, and so on. Yet another group is working on youth entrepreneurship, which is to get every young person exposed, give them seed loans, small ones, and get them to help them to start their business. Anyway, I can go on. The point is people coming together to work on common challenges, celebrating growth and success till it becomes unstoppable. Okay? So we're spreading rapidly. In Maharashtra alone, we started in Nagpur to get confidence. We're soon starting in Amravati, Pune, Kolhapur, Satara, and so on. We have a partnership with Niti Aayog to take this to more states. We've already started in Vizag because of the support from Chandrababu Naidu ji. And his dream is very simple. In the next 4 years of his chief ministership, he wants one entrepreneur in every family. Okay? I said, I don't know how to do that. Let's start at Vizag and see how fast we can go. Similarly, we've started in Nagaland with YouthNet and are just starting in Andaman with the Dakshin Foundation. And we've been working in UP. Okay, so UP government has a very bold program called MYuva, Mukhyamantri Yuva Udhyami Vikas Abhiyan. The idea is, can you create 1 lakh small businesses, 1 lakh youths starting small businesses. Each of them get an interest-free loan of 5 lakhs, which can be topped up to 7.5 lakhs, and then the mentorship to start their business. My organization is a partner helping them design and deploy this. But really, we want to get on the ground in 1 or 2 districts in UP. So that's why I came here. I wanted to tell you about this, get you excited about this, and see, could this apply to Ghaziabad? Your city, as I drove in, is already prosperous, it is already vibrant. Wherever you look, there is construction going on. But the question you have to ask is, are you capable of much, much more? Are you operating at your potential? And I have to believe, looking at who's in the room, the answer is clearly yes. And we can't wait for government to do things, okay? I think the leadership has to come from all of us, because you have the energy, the knowledge, the networks, and most importantly, the desire to create change. What we found in city after city is the leaders are there, the ability is there. What you're simply missing is a model that gets people working together. And again, what we've seen is how local leadership and collective action can just transform a place. So, if this excites you, if the Ghaziabad Management Association, for instance, is willing to just bring together key stakeholders for a day-long workshop so we can brainstorm what is possible, my team and I would be very, very happy to work with you to get started. I have zero doubt that together we can make Ghaziabad into a lighthouse, not just for UP, but for the whole country, and a shining example of how local leadership, collective action, and entrepreneurship can transform a city. Jai Hind.
Very rightly said, sir. The change is not happening. Whatever is happening today has already happened before. And thank you so much for sharing the importance of the cultural shift, which has empowered people to come up with remarkable ideas, even voice those ideas, and come up with many innovations and inventions contributing to mass flourishment. That's what you said, sir. And undoubtedly, in order to realize the shared vision of Viksit Bharat, we definitely need an entrepreneurial mindset, a growth mindset, and our gratitude and congratulations to you, sir, for being a pioneer in this direction and contributing towards an empowered India. And definitely with you around, Ghaziabad is going to be a lighthouse, not just in India but in the world when it comes to leadership and innovation. So thank you so much, sir. And I'm sure after listening to such powerful insights from our experts, there must be so many thoughts and questions coming in the mind of our audience. We can have a very quick two-question open forum. The house is open. Students, can you please circulate the mic in case you are having any questions, any perspective sharing from the audience? We can devote 5 minutes for that.
By connecting the people together and make them work for a project and keep involving them, and whatever they have, their skills, their energies are always positive, and this helps in the growth. But response from the youngster of today who wants to move very fast and jet speed, and they do not trust this small help and Dr. Galvez. They want to have independent approach. How do you merge with this? GMA is built up only around this. We want our education institutions are also dedicated for the industries, for the growth of the people. Ghaziabad, we are all striving too hard to see institutions provide knowledge. And even colleges are being furnished with the equipments, facilities, and even as a faculties around the university. We have a right environment around. I don't know, you can guide us in this direction, and GMA will take forward the move.
I got very excited when I saw who's the member of GMA, what are they already doing. And I said that's the best group to get started. So we'll be very happy. But there was a gentleman there who was...
Yeah, Managing Director of Market Insight Consultants. My question is on the extreme diversity we have in our startup sector. On one end, you have the world's largest unicorns, and on the other end, you have strugglers who are not even able to get their seed capital. How do we strategically solve this?
Already there is, at the top end, what I call elite entrepreneurship. That is already doing quite well. There are a lot of big startup with a lot of venture capital, and I have no interest in them because that's not going to solve our problem of mass employment and prosperity. I'm much more excited about small businesses all over the country, in smaller towns, villages. And in order to solve their problem, you have to create a good environment in that city. This is not top-down, it is bottom-up. So I often give an example of gardening. घर में gardening करना है, and you need good soil. You have to prepare the soil, you have to have good seeds, and you have to have the right climate, and then you get a good crop or good flowers. So what we have to do is, in a city, in a place, create the right local conditions. And I gave you examples of Manizales, Colombia, how you do that, how you do it, and how we're trying to do in Nagpur and so forth. If you do that, automatically, seeds start sprouting. Okay? There is no shortage of talent in our country. There is zero shortage of ideas in our country. But we have to inspire them a little bit with successes. And we have to create less difficult environment. Okay, that's the core issue. And what we're saying is that cannot happen top down. It has to come bottom up from the leaders in that place, people like all of us. So anyway, we'll talk further with it.
So I just want to supplement what Ravi said. I work in the startup community, so I understand your question. The problem is youngsters start companies in a white space. They grew up to a particular level and the funding stops. The market is not there for them. So I think what is required, like a tea hub, I don't know if you've been to the Hyderabad tea hub, which they provide facilities to all the startups there. It is the biggest startup innovation in Asia. That's what they claim. It's huge actually by any standard. But they provide all facilities like mentoring. People don't understand governance, mentoring, very, very important. Also getting more senior people to come and advise them at the right time. and also when they choose their investment partner, choose somebody who will walk with you through your journey. Because you can't go around, you're doing your business, suddenly go and say, I need funding and all that. So I think it's a very deep-rooted problem. Lots of startups are fading away because of this. But I think there needs to be a relook at the whole thing again. I mean, I'm not sure I've answered yours, but this is something which you'd like to do.
So thank you, sir, for addressing the queries of our audience. I can see many raised hands, but we can network over high tea. We have a sumptuous high tea. Our guests, our experts will be there. So you can network. We have to stick to the time schedule, please. We now request our dignitaries to kindly come forward for releasing the convention souvenir.
Only first GC members, please. Charity. Please come on dais and we can release the souvenir. Dancer, if you can come up.
It's a memorable moment. Can we commemorate it by a round of applause, please? Thank you, dignitaries. We once again thank our dignitaries for their precious time. It would be an honor to present them with a moment. Thank you, sir. We request Mr. N.K. Dhan, sir, to kindly present a token of gratitude to Mr. Richard Lekhi, sir. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful insights, for being with us today. To have some cherished memories of the occasion, we request all our dignitaries to kindly join us for a group photograph. So, sir is already here.
Good. Standing to give a vote of thanks, especially for such cases, will not be correct on my part, sir, because people touch, oceanic, what you call topics. Answering them up in just 2-3 minutes will be a crime on my part, actually. That will not be correct. But still, I try my best to do that. I'll start with Mr. Richard Lekhi. Sir, you actually trust the whole Indian economy, right? Starting from colonial era through 1991 till now. Almost every generation was touched upon. And the best part was the various inputs that you suggested to turbocharge the system to take it forward to top 3 economies in the world. I believe these inputs, they were commonly being discussed. But the way you presented in such an interconnected manner, covering all the dots, was mesmerizing. One thing was very interesting when you said that data is new oil, new grease, that was really very catchy. And I got tempted to think something more and write some article on that. I just talked to say, if you can help me out. So, I believe growth conditionalities have been discussed. Data new oil has been discussed. Sir, at one point of time, I thought we are somewhere caught up in between derailers and enablers. So, thank you so much, Mr. Richard. Ravi Venkatesan sir, I was listening to you, and what I started with, that you trust actually all together, oceanic topic, having MSMEs, small businesses, and how they can contribute. Because we all know everybody looks for job, and there cannot be job for everybody. So there have to be businesses. I mean, there are two sides of the same coin. One cannot live without the other. One cannot exist without the other. And he was very right that we need to create wealth. We need to create unicorns. And that is where job creation, wealth acceleration, our GDP jump start will come to the picture. So that way, sir, you are very, very right. And listening to you, trust me, motivated me a lot. Even I have started thinking of, starting something else if I can contribute some way or the other. But it is too late, still. You have to take risk, and the risk, says that there is an age group and you have to go for that. Right. So thank you so much, sir. Sri S.K. Tiwari ji, he discussed, he presented all, the activities that GMA undertook throughout this particular duration. It was a beautiful narration on your part, sir. Wonderful. Rahul Agrawal ji, very instrumental pillar behind GMA. Thank you so much for bringing all this together. It's a great, and this inaugural session has and established many milestones, for the rest of these sessions to take place. So thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much.
Dignitaries, all of you once again, we'll be now breaking for tea, and kindly join us for a cup of tea, and we'll be immediately starting with the technical session after the tea break, so kindly reassemble.